Greetings comic book fans and welcome to the Dude Cave. I'm Jason and these are my comic book reviews for the third week of November 2015. First things first, before we get down to business, apologies there was no comic haul video this week. Basically what happened is the plan on comic book day is I work the Tuesday night. So I come home Wednesday morning, I go to bed for a few hours, I get up at midday, go and get my comics, come home, record my video, go back to bed for a bit, get up, get dinner for me and the wife for when she gets home from work, and then I upload my video. That's the plan, that's how it should work. Unfortunately, once I got up this week, there was a power cut, and my comic shop tweeted out that they had no power, so they closed the shop for a bit. And it was about an hour and a half before power came back and they opened up the shop. So I was late to getting my comics. So that just kind of meant that I wasn't able to find the time in that day to kind of get the video done. So apologies if you was looking for it. I am kind of contemplating whether to not do the whole video anymore. It's the easiest video to do for me, but it's just at the moment with me getting used to my new job, working nights, I do find it quite difficult, and I've been disappointed with my last two videos, haul videos, because I just feel I've kind of rushed through them because, you know, I want to get back to bed because I'm still really tired. So at the moment I don't know, I haven't made a decision. If there was an interest in me still doing a whole video but maybe recording it on Saturday, I could do that, but it depends. Is there an interest in seeing a whole video from like the books I got on Wednesday on the Saturday? If there is, let me know and I'll do that, but at the moment I'm kind of gonna it's the whole videos I think are just gonna be a as and when kind of basis. So this week we got 14 books to review. We have so we're gonna kick things off with, I just lost totally track of what I was saying then. We're gonna kick things off with the comics of the week, the 5 books I enjoyed most this week. We're then gonna have rapid fire reviews where I review the rest of my books. No rant of the week this week. I'm doing this a day earlier and I just haven't had time to kind of think on something I want to speak about. In future I'm going to kind of like start thinking, I'm going to make a list of like things I want to rant about, so I've always got a subject to kind of just on the spur of the moment do. But so no rant of the week this week. So we're going to go, after rapid fire reviews, we're going to go straight into the pick of the week and then it will be company of the week. Like I said, we've got 14 books to do, so let's get into those reviews. So here we are, comics of the week. Some good books this week. This week was an exceptional week. Like the lowest book was a 4 stars. No book got lower than 4 stars this week, and I think that is a pretty extraordinary thing. So that is pretty good. So first up this week, my comics of the week, we have Extraordinary X-Men issue number 2. I know this one's kind of got mixed reviews, but I'm absolutely loving it. I'm liking how the team's coming together. You've had like Jean Grey and Old Man Logan turn the team down, and I like that, you know, because usually in comics they go around and the heroes all come together, and I like that they go on a different track here, and it isn't coming together quite as easy, but it's making the way that it's going to come together, it's making it feel much more organic. So I'm liking what they're doing there. I like they've got this Sentinel now called Cerebra. I think that's pretty cool, and I think she's going to be a really good character. There's some great interactions between different characters. There's a great Jean Grey moment in here where she tries to save someone. It's great seeing Jean Grey come face to face with Old Man Logan and them having to face up to stuff. And just a lot of the character interactions in this issue were great, and in one minute it kind of has you on the edge of your seat and one minute as you're chuckling. So I really like the variety throughout the issue. We learn about X-Haven in this issue, where it is, and it doesn't look like it's going to be very safe. I'm really enjoying this book and the kind of the where it's going right now. I think it's coming together really nicely, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying it, and give Extraordinary X-Men issue number 2 5 stars out of 5, one of my comics of the week. Next up we have Miss Marvel issue number 1. This is kicking things off after Secret Wars, and you know, all these number 1 books, you wouldn't know that there's been a cosmic scale event. You wouldn't know, because all the books are kind of just carrying on. I did like this book that they used the 3-month gap. I felt the best that I've seen it used, as kind of Miss Marvel's supposed to have been away being an Avenger, being a superhero, and she kind of lost track of her life. And now she's kind of tuning back in, and she finds that things have moved on, that people aren't where they were when she left them, that things have moved on. And in particular, Bruno is now in a relationship with a woman called Mike. And I really like Kamala at first reaction to this is real, like outraged, like he said he loved me, what's going on? But that was 3 months ago, and she told him to move on, and he has. And it's been 3 months, and kind of the journey of this issue very much an issue centered around Bruno and Kamala, and the fact that she's been out of his life for 3 months, and he's done what she said, he's moved on, and it wasn't easy for him because he's been in love with her forever, but he's managed to do that somehow by meeting this really special person, Mike. So I really like that, and like there isn't really in this issue a whole load of like being a superhero deal, and I liked that, but like we get to kind of really concentrate on the character and her relationships with the people in her life, and I really like this. And you know, I think if you enjoyed that first volume, you're gonna love the hell out of this, because it was just another really great book. As always, a great read. The art is really cool. Definitely, always, Ms. Marvel's always one of my comics of the week, and I would have given it 5 out of 5. So next up we have Tokyo Ghost issue number 3, and this is another book that I'm really enjoying, but it doesn't have like the big action and the exploder stuff. It's much more kind of a character thing, and seeing Teddy's journey in this issue as he gets off the drugs even more, and he kind of has to face up to stuff, and seeing who he's becoming is really fascinating now that he's not on all the stuff. And also the other thing is, like, he went on all the drugs because he couldn't protect Debbie, and that getting on the drugs put him in a position where he could protect her. Now he's coming off them, he's kind of having to face up to that, and he still needs to be able to protect her. So I'm really interested to see how his character goes there and where that's going to lead him. The whole through this book, things seem to be going too well, and you're kind of expecting the shoe to drop, and by the end of the issue things are starting to turn. They don't know it yet, but you can see things are beginning to turn, and I really liked how we were introduced to that earlier on, and kind of it flips back at the end. So really well done. This is a superstar creative team, and the expectations for this book, for at least from me, were high. And so far, I think they're meeting those high expectations, and with another fabulous issue. So yeah, I'm going to give Tokyo Ghost issue number 3 one of my picks of the week, and I'd have given it 5 out of 5. So our penultimate comics of the week, we're just whizzing through them this week. We have Huck by Mark Millar and Raphael Albuquerque. And this book was just a delight. It was lovely. These days, there's a lot of books that are dark or have to be negative. And maybe this book's going to go down that road in the future. But this issue was just an absolute joy. You know, it's like a light in the darkness, if you will. We meet this character called Huck, and the town he lives in has the secret that he has these abilities. He can do great things. He's basically, imagine Superman if he stayed in Smallville, is what he kind of is. And the town all know about him, but it's kind of this open secret that nobody kind of tells outsiders. And we have this new woman who moves into the town, and she's learning all about Huck and all the things that he does. And then he does something abroad because he sees somebody in need, and her and her husband are kind of like, well, I gather he's a husband, he's a partner anyway, and they kind of like, how much money could we make from this? And they kind of tell the world, and the issue ends with Huck getting up, and there's all these reporters outside of his house. So it's kind of like, I found this book on 2 levels. On the one level, I really liked it. It was a delight, and this character who's so kind, who tries to do one good deed a day, I really liked. And then on the flip side, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen next. How's Huck going to be now that he's been outed? Are the military going to come for him to run experiments on him? How are the town going to react to this couple once they find out it was this couple that told everybody this big secret? So there's a lot of different things that I'm really looking forward to, and I think that's the thing about this issue. It doesn't blow you away and seem like, wow, what a wonderful comic, but it lays so much down, and that you're just really interested. Invested already after one issue. You're emotionally invested in this character and in this world, and you want to see what happens next. And I think that goes along. That shows you that, okay, might not have all the bells and whistles, but it's still a great first issue because it has that emotional effect on you. I really enjoyed this, as you can tell, and yeah, Huck issue number 1 rather is one of my comics of the week, and I'd have given it 5 out of 5. So my final comic of the week is The Mighty Thor, issue number 1, and again, you would not know Secret Wars had gone on reading this book, because Thor does, as like reading it, she does play a prominent part in it, but you wouldn't know from this. This just carries on from the last issue, and I found this personally, this issue really resonated with me, and I don't know how much of that is because, like, last year my mum had cancer, so that's something that's still very emotional and very raw in me. So kind of seeing this character, how she's dealing with cancer, and I found on an emotional level I really connected with the story, and maybe that's because of my position, and maybe if you took that out of it, I don't know if my reaction to the book would be different. And it was kind of why I hesitated giving this pick of the week, because I was just like, how much of it is that this book is good, or how much of it is just because of my situation that this book has just particularly really resonated with me. This issue really goes in deeper into Jane Foster. She's got cancer. She's also the goddess of thunder, Thor, and kind of how being Thor is like it purges her body of what they're giving her to get over the cancer. So it's basically killing her, but it won't kind of get rid of the cancer because the cancer's part of her. So it basically, she's dying. You know, it's being Thor is stopping her getting cured, and she's dying. And I kind of, that was a very interesting, really kind of setup, and quite heavy in many ways. And you've got to think, you know, maybe, you know, if Odin's son found out about this, you know for sure he'd be like, let me take the hammer back, you know. But yeah, so I'm really, that really hits you on an emotional level. We then have bits of the book where there's like this big contrast, this big disaster, and Thor is there, and it kind of very much felt like an old school kind of superhero comic where the superhero comes and saves the day. I really like that. I really enjoyed that. You know, you don't get enough of that in comics today. The hero's just saving the day. Everything has to be big and bad and dark. You can't have those old school kind of things, and I really like stuff like that. I think that's really cool. And one of the things as a kid I loved about comics, and one of the things I still love. So yeah, we have that old school feel. You get the beginning of the War of Realms going on here with Malkiev kind of plotting in the darkness. So I'm really enjoying what's going on there, and that's really interesting. We've got what's going on with Odin, which is really good as well. And the book ends on quite a few cliffhangers of like where we're going to go next. We've also got the mystery of what's happened to Odin's son. He's disappeared for a bit, so you're kind of wondering, well, what's happened to him? So, but all in all, I really enjoyed this. Once again, Russell Dowdemeyer's art was really great as well. And all in all, this book just continues to be fantastic. And I give The Mighty Thor, issue number 1, one of my comics of the week, and I would have given it 5 stars out of 5. So, those are my comics of the week. Next up, ready, aim, fire. It is time for the rapid fire review. So here we go, rapid fire reviews. I got 8 books this week. My record 2 weeks ago, I did 14 books in 14 minutes. Last week was a bit longer, but let's see if we can get this done. So, kicking things off in our rapid fire reviews, we have Batman and Robin Eternal, issue number 7. This was once again a really good issue, and it was a bit of a surprise because the art, the writer and the artist on this issue were 2 people that were totally unknown to me. We've got Guinevere Valentine and Alvaro Martinez, and they both do a really bang-up job. You look at the art there, beautiful stuff. And the writing here, Guinevere Valentine does just a top-notch job. So tip my hat to both of them. 2 people who I'll definitely be looking out for in the future. The story itself, I think, builds well towards the cliffhanger, as we kind of have, well, we have Dick teaming up with Harper Row and Cassandra Cain, as they're kind of trying to find Mother and locate Mother, and this takes them to Prague. And kind of the whole issue is building up to the cliffhanger at the end, and I really enjoyed that structure. There's a nice moment with Jason and Tim as they're off on their own mission, and that's really cool and kind of really brings it around to like what's going down between Tim and Dick. All in all, yeah, this was another really good issue, and I'd give Batman and Robin Eternal issue number 7 5 stars out of 5. Next up we have The Wrath of the Eternal Warrior, issue number 1, kicking off this new series with one of my favourite characters in the Valiant universe. The use of 2 artists here I thought was great, because like basically Eternal Warrior died at the end of Book of Death, and we gather he's in heaven, but first he's battling these demons, and then he wakes up and his children are around him, and he's got a wife, and he's living his happy life, and so like they use 2 artists, one to illustrate his happy life, one to illustrate him fighting demons, and I like that usage of 2 artists. I think that's good. There's some great character moments here for the Eternal Warrior, and we really get like he struggles that he's got to keep fighting. He can't just stay and enjoy this happiness. He gets the call to go into the darkness and do the fighting, and we don't quite know what's going on yet, and I felt the issue in that regard was a bit confusing. Is he in heaven? Is he in hell? We don't know yet. Or is he somewhere else? We don't know yet. And I found, but the way they did it, it's just you're totally a bit flummoxed with the story. Even though you're enjoying like the great character moments, you're still feeling a bit confused, and I think that hurt the book. So I'm going to give Wrath of the Eternal Warrior, issue number 1, 4 stars out of 5. Next up we have Black Knight, issue number 1. Initially I didn't pick this up. I went back to my comic shop. Luckily I got there just as they had the last issue. I wasn't going to get this, but when I heard Weird World was in it, I was like, yeah, I got to get that, because I really liked Weird World. So Black Knight rules this part of Weird World called New Avalon, I think it's called, and he rules this part of the world, and he's protecting it from different monsters and stuff, and so he's basically really in his element, and different parts of our world fall through, and he kind of has this museum where he collects different parts of our world. I really enjoyed the issue. I thought it introduces the character really well, and the Ebony Blade, and how, you know, he does this whole Game of Thrones moment where he lobs somebody's head off when he first got there, and it's kind of like, is he succumbing to the blade, or did he do what was necessary? And there's a whole question there, and I really liked that. It introduces all the characters around him really well, and the setup I thought worked really well, and I like the fact that he's supposed to have been there a while. That whole thing works well as well, because kind of like you've got a bit of mystery of what's happened, and I think it works really well with the story. For me, the art was good until the last 2 pages where it starts to fall apart, and the last page I kind of wasn't happy with who's turning up now in Weird World looking for the Black Knight. I thought I would have liked to have gone a bit longer in letting him get settled into this world, and for us to get settled into seeing him in this world. Maybe go a story arc with him having an adventure in this world, and then bring people in looking for him. But I kind of felt in the series it was a bit too soon for me, and I liked where we was going before those characters were introduced. There is a great battle at the beginning of the book though, and all in all I went away from this pretty happy. And I think I'll definitely pick up the next issue, and I'm going to give Black Knight number 1 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have Star Wars Vader Down, issue number 1. This kicks off the new crossover event in the Star Wars books. This was brilliant and very nearly made my comics of the week. It became down to this and Tokyo Ghost. It was out of those 2 books which one was going to go on, and obviously Tokyo Ghost won. The art on this book, I kind of had mixed feelings, because in some ways it's great. You know, there were some great moments here when, like, for example, this moment here where Vader's lone Star Destroyers battling this fleet of X-Wing fighters. Probably ain't going to be able to find anymore. Oh, here we go. These are like where they get to the scene where Vader's blown up all the fighters and the people are dead in space. The art does quite, like, here's a picture of Han Solo, and I don't know how they do it, whether they trace it or whether they copy the image from a photograph, but there's a lot of images like that, and I kind of prefer the kind of style that Immonen does, where he has kind of like a caricature of that character so that he can do multiple times, and I felt For me, while the art was beautiful, I did kind of feel I would have preferred that to how they try and make this like so hyper realistic. So I did have mixed feelings on the art. It's a fun, action-packed story that moves along at a lightning pace, and Vader is absolutely badass in this issue. Basically, the gist is Vader is trying to find Luke, and he knows where Luke's going to be. So he goes to this planet, but there's a whole rebel fleet there, and eventually ends up getting shot down. Luke is the one who takes him down because he crashes his ship into Vader's ship, and they crash. So now, like all the it ends this brilliant cliffhanger where Vader is surrounded by rebel troops. And it's kind of like, okay, I think you're going to need more troops. Vader is absolutely badass and superb in this. And like we've got other stories going on where everybody seems to be heading for Vorgas Voss, this planet. So it's really great how all the characters are kind of converging on there. The cliffhanger just has me really excited for the next issue. And I also love, like, we have these two scenes one after the other of like C-3PO kind of saying, oh, this is a bad idea, I have a bad feeling about this. And then we have 000 kind of really happy that he's going to get to go to this planet and maybe torture some people. So I kind of like how you have the two droids and they're like the polar opposite of each other. So that was really cool. But yeah, this was really great. I'll give it 5 out of 5. So next up we have New Suicide Squad issue 14. This was good. Basically Waller is onto Vic's stage, and so she's taking the Suicide Squad to kind of find out what's going on. We have this big confrontation of Waller and the squad, which reveals she's turned their bombs in their neck off. So they kind of think, yeah, now we can beat up Waller. And then she kind of reveals that like it's connected now to her heartbeat. So when she dies, they die. So like they gotta go along with it now because they want to keep her alive. And you're kind of feeling, is Waller bluffing them? Did she just turn it off? You know, or is she, and she's bluffing them, or is she telling the truth? And you never know with Waller. We also have Sage, and he's plotting and planning because he knows Waller is onto him. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here, but this felt very much like a setup issue for us to get the story moving next issue. But I'm still really enjoying this book, and I give New Suicide Squad issue number 14 4 stars out of 5. We then have Bloodshot Reborn issue number 8, and this was a really quick read. The story moves along at a breakneck pace. There were some great twists and turns, but it does go really quickly, and I read it lightningly quick. And that kind of made me feel, is there that much substance there? If it's a quick read, can it still have a lot of substance? I don't know. We learn a lot about, I think it's Rising Spirit, and about the whole Bloodshot project, and about so that was really interesting. Events do feel kind of like they're moving a bit too fast, and sometimes, you know, the thing of 4-issue story arcs can be a blessing, and sometimes it can be a curse. And in this case, you feel it's a bit of a curse because they're cramming so much story in. Things are moving so quickly, you don't have time for the story to breathe. I like the Magic and Ray relationship, and that's going to be interesting to follow, because I thought it took a really interesting turn, but then we get another twist. The twist at the end is also really good, and it just has me waiting on tenterhooks for the next issue. And I'm going to give Bloodshot Reborn issue number 8 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have the Astonishing AntMan issue number 2. This was another really good issue. I love the twist at the end of this. I thought that was really good. It's great to see Darla again. I really liked her character. I can't remember the name of the book now. Yeah, when they were together, I really liked her in that book, and it was great to see her back. The story moves along nicely. What's Augustine Cross up to, and how does that involve Ant-Man ending up in prison? All in all, this book just remains a really good joy. It has the light comedic tone of the movie, but at the same time, it's kind of has some seriousness as events are going on, and we know somehow Scott ends up in prison. So where's that journey? We're following that journey. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying this book again, and it doesn't feel like it's been a waste. It just feels like it's really carrying on the story where we left off, and I kind of wonder why we had to restart the numbering, because it just feels a continuation of the same story. But I'd give Astonishing AntMan issue number 2 5 stars out of 5. And our final book, woohoo, is Superman Action Comics issue number 46. This was really good. Basically, Superman's got infected with this kind of shadow thing that kind of brings your rage to the forefront, and Superman is kind of battling his rage. So kind of partly giving into it, but partly controlling it. And it's this really great showdown with Raph as she kind of, her plan for the world is, she sees this basically shows you your true self. That if you're a bad person, it shows that. But if you can control the rage, it shows you're a good person. And if they launch this around the world, we'll get rid of all the bad people and have only good people. And kind of it makes Raph much more of an interesting villain in this issue. That she isn't about world domination, it's about sorting out the good from the bad. And I really like kind of her character now. I find her much more interesting. You don't agree with her methods, but she is much more interesting character. We have Frankenstein showing up. He's been infected by the rage thing, and so that's really cool. I really like. I love Frankenstein. One of my favourite books was when Jeff Lemire was writing Frankenstein: Agent of Shade, and I really missed that book because that was really great. And I miss Frankenstein. So anytime I see him turn up in a book, that's really great. And to see him have to actually turn up this book to battle Superman, wow, brilliant. My only complaint with the book is the events. They kind of feel you jump from one to the other. It doesn't kind of feel like there's a flow to the book. But overall, I really enjoyed this, and I give Superman Action Comics 46, 4 stars out of 5. So those are the rapid fire reviews, and next up, we find out what's my pick of the week. So my pick of the week for the 3rd week of November is Star Wars issue number 12. The biggest thing I can say about this book is, as a kid, when I watched the Star Wars movies, the thing that I most remember is how happy they made me feel, how much joy I got from watching them. And when I read this book, it brings that joy, it recreates that kind of joy that I experienced as a child. And I'm instantly reverted to that 7-8-year-old that would constantly watch the trilogy on video cassette. And I just, it is that like kind of like childlike joy I get reading this book. But also I thought this issue was just once again action packed, and Jason Aaron is just killing it. It's great to see the gang this issue all back together. We've had their separate adventures, and now they kind of come together to rescue Luke, so that's all really cool. I like Game Master being revealed as this Imperial spy, because it makes total sense that the Emperor would kind of want to get anything to do with the Jedi, so he can keep his propaganda going and not let the truth get out. So it's really cool having Game Master there, but also Gracchus the Hutt is not your ordinary Hutt, and I really like seeing him come into his own and put up a really big fight, and that was really cool. We get all the characters end up with a lightsaber at one point, which was tremendous fun. We get a great moment between Leia and Sana as kind of the truth gets revealed about Han being married. So I really like the resolution of that, and it all felt very organic, and it fit the character. So, you know, my previous rants I retract. You know, Jason Aaron kind of paid it off nicely. I think Stuart Immonen on art has been a great addition to the book. I'm really enjoying his art. He kind of, where we had another Star Wars book this week, and they kind of went the photographic kind of route, where it feels like the image is either traced or drawn from a photograph. In this book, it's kind of more the caricature of what that character's like, and I feel that's much an easier kind of thing. I think it translates better to comics, and I think it's a much easier way for the artist to kind of be able to produce this, because you wouldn't be able to produce an issue like that all the time, that photorealistic kind of thing. And I don't really like comics like that. I like comics to be comics, and comics to like the caricatures of what the characters would look like. So I prefer that in my comics. This, just like I said, is a fantastically fun series. The end of it really sets up where we're going to go in Vader Down, as Vader kind of is trying to find Luke, the pilot that destroyed the Death Star, and I just really enjoyed the heck out of this. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, Star Wars issue number 12 is my pick of the week. So here we are, the end of the video, which means it's time to find out who the company of the week are. This week was a really good week, as like every company had strong books, nothing got under a 4, so it's going to be interesting how that all adds together. So in third place we have DC Comics with an average rating of 4.3. We then have the indies with an average rating of 4.5. The indies this week were represented by Image and Valiant. And so, the company of the week with an average rating of 4.8 are Marvel Comics. A really good week for them. Their #1 books, while expensive, they had 3 of the books I bought from them this week were $4.99, but they all delivered. All the stories were really great, and they used that extra space really well to really set up a good story. So I think Marvel this week were killing it, and we can tell they not only got the pick of the week, they are the company of the week as well. So this week I've got a massive 23 books coming out, which is scary and marvelous all at the same time, because it's like a big hunk of comic book goodness, but you just know like my comic book reviews are going to be late next week because 23 books to get through is going to take time, but it's going to be glorious because I do love my comics. The books I'm looking forward to this week, I'm just like looking on my phone to like what books are coming out. We've got Grayson, which I'm really enjoying. Issue 14 of that comes out. We Are Robin comes out, which I'm enjoying. That issue #6. Saga is back this week. Issue 31 of Saga comes out, so it's so great to have Saga back. That's going to be really good. We also have a book called Ringside coming out, issue #1, which is, I'm a big wrestling maniac. I love my wrestling, and this is a book about wrestling, so that's going to be interesting. I'm going to get the first issue of that and see what that's like. We've got all new Wolverine issue #2 coming out. Love the first issue, so I'm excited to see what they do with the next. We've got Darth Vader issue 13, which is the next part of the Vader Down crossover, so I'm looking forward to that. We have the final issues of Groot and Silver Surfer, which I think Groot's coming back. I think they're launching that as a Rocket, Raccoon and Groot series, so that's going to come back, which will be cool. And we've got Silver Surfer is going to get a new series next year as well, so they're both coming back, which kind of makes me wonder why end them if they're coming back, especially like now, this late in the game. But like Groot I can understand because they want to do a joint book, so yeah, I can understand with Groot. But with Silver Surfer, it's just going to have the same characters in, like we've been seeing. Why have to go to the thing of relaunching it? We then have Venom Space Knight, which is a book I'm quite intrigued by, and I think I may pick up and have a look at. And we also have X-Men of War, which I really love that book, my favourite Valiant character, so looking forward to that. So those are the books I'm looking forward to this week. My review, as I said, will probably be a bit late. I may have a haul video, but it's not going to be a definite thing. I'm just going to leave it and not say every week that there'll be a haul video Wednesday. There might be a haul video Wednesday, there might not. We will see. We'll see how I feel on Wednesday. But if not, I will see you next week with another batch of comic book reviews. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you liked the video, please give me those beautiful thumbs up. Let me know you like what you're seeing with the video. I will be back, as I said, with another review video around this time next week. Hope you all have a great week. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Jason from the Dude Cave with my comic book reviews. Bye for now.